Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil, welcome along to Midlife Motors. And today, well, this weekend I've had a free weekend and I've been polishing. Well, we took the car out of the garage to try and do a great reveal and I forgot to press record, so we're putting it back in to take it back out again. I thought I'd make a video to see if any of you guys want to make kind of the next step in your car care. And by the next step, I'm talking about machine polishing, dual action polishing to you and I. The two cars in the background have been done. This one's underway, and I've got a little arsenal of really the things that I use. If you go on the internet, it looks like a bit of a black art, but really it's not. You don't need much stuff. You don't need much knowledge because you gain it as you do it. Now, it's a three-stage process, really, machine polishing. Two are done with the polisher and one is by hand at the very end. You're going to do a polish, hence the name. You're going to do a finish, both by the machine, and then you're just going to wax the car at the end as you would after you washed it in the past, that sort of thing. Now, both of these cars have been done. The Polo's had the full works. It's had it lives outside. It's gets all the worst of the winter on it. So that's had a machine polish. That's had a finish. That's been waxed a couple of times about 2 weeks ago, and it looks great. The Mercedes generally lives in the garage and doesn't get driven in anything other than bone dry conditions because I'm a bit sad like that. It's not, and it's got a much tougher paint, I've noticed on this. So the three processes, if you like, that I was talking about, you can tweak them a little bit. This car didn't need the polishing stage. The paint's tough. It only picked up one or two very minor scratches, a couple of swirl marks. So I jumped straight to the finish stage with this because the finishing it's still a bit of a compound, so it still has got a little bit of a cut in it, and that took everything out of this, out of the SLK. So that was good. That was only a two-stage process. Now the Mazda, it's been a three-stage process, but I'm very aware that the paint on this car, on Mazda MX-5s, is a thin paint, so the polishing stage has been very, very, very low key, and I'm going to run through why, the things I've used, that sort of stuff, see if it helps in between MotoGP, and Le Mans, and the TT. I've set up my table here with everything that I use, everything you're going to need to carry out this this task. Let's start with the polisher first, because that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I went for the DAS Pro 6 Plus. I started all this in lockdown, and this was the machine that really, doing a few reviews, seemed to be the best for a novice like me at the time. Very adjustable. I have it on a setting of 3. It goes up to 6. Lightweight, long lead, very interchangeable with all the parts. Not too loud. I mean, I do use ear defenders, but that's mainly because, well, earplugs rather than ear defenders, but that's mainly because I'm getting to a certain age now. The pads I use are the Hex Logic ones, and on the back of the packs you'll see all sorts of colour chart as to what you need. Forget all that. You need two types of pads. You need a green one to put on the polish, and you need a black one to put on the finish. That's it. That's all you need. You will need some masking tape. We'll get to that later. Polish, as I've got two. This is my go-to, the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish. It's the one I used on the Polo in the background here. It's the one I'm using on the Mazda, and it's my, like I say, it's my go-to. The Scholl one here, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more cut in it. That's what you need if there's a bit more damage to the paintwork. You might see we did a repair on an XC40 in a previous video, and that's what I used where the scratches were quite deep. Just behind the Polo there is my daily driver, the car that we bought back at Christmas time. Now I'm going to do that one next, and I think it's going to need some of this because the paint on that has had some damage in the past by the previous owner. We're then going to finish with the Menzerner, the Super Finish Plus. Brilliant. Again, these two stages, use the machine to apply it. Then we finish with the Turtle Wax Super Hard Shell Finish. That's what you'd use if you were, you know, washing your car and you were waxing it afterwards. The Pure Definition on the top there is just something I use on the alloy wheels. Other things, I've got my phone out here because sometimes you spend so long out here, people wonder where the hell you are. And, well, the energy drink's purely optional. I'll apologise about the lighting. I know the GoPros don't pick up fluorescent tubes very well, but the fluorescent tubes are great for being able to see what you can do. I've also rigged up a little, this is an old DIY light, and this spreads light beautifully. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you there. Spreads light beautifully so you can see exactly what you're doing and where you're going. Now, just before we get started, running through a few tips, a few do's. Protect your rubbers, protect your slam panel. The polish goes on well, but now you know there are ridges in the car, and if it's not completely flat, particularly when starting and finishing, it will spray and it's a pain to get them off. So like I protected the slam panel here with towels. I've taped up around the window rubbers when I'm doing the roof here. Obviously there's a convertible, so it's got some rubbers which I've taped over as well. Door mirrors, that sort of thing. Watch your plastics at low level too. Now I need a dual action polisher so we can get started. And here it is. I've got the green pad on because we're going to be polishing first, and I'm onto the Meguiar's. Now usually I do an area about a foot square at a time, and I judge that from sort of my elbow to my fingertips. So we're going to do an area sort of that size to begin with. First things first, we've got to prep the pad. Now I keep these in a sandwich bag, a sealable sandwich bag that keeps them nice and moist overnight and ready for the next time. In fact, sandwich bags are a bit of a theme here. I've got one over this this door mirror. Anyway, to prepare the pad, get your polish, and you're going to put 5 dots on it. 1 more or less in each corner, 3, 4, and 1 in the middle. There we go. That's the pad more or less prepared. Remember our area, so this is around the neck, strangle yourself. So remember our area, we were there, to there, to there, to there. That's basically the size of the area that we're going to do. Spread the polish, like so. And what you want to be looking for is somewhere flat to start, because when you turn it on, if it's at a slight angle, it will spray the polish everywhere, and trust me, we want to avoid that. When it starts up, takes a couple of seconds to spin up, so don't move it straight away, just let it get to speed. I'm going to put it on number 3, goes all the way up to 6, but I've never been anywhere near number 6 on, well, on any car really. So we're going to do 8 passes. We're going to do 4 in one direction and then 4 at 90 degrees to it. I'll do 1 in each direction just so you get the gist of it. So as you can probably tell, it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so we're ready to go. You don't need much force on this. Pull the trigger and we're away. There we go, that would be 1 pass. We'd go back up, back down, back up, and that would be 4 passes. We're then going to go up and down. Again, when you're doing that, try and start on a flat surface, try and finish on a flat surface. I didn't do such a good job of that last time. Same process. Let it finish. So there we go, that's a pass in each direction. Like I say, we do 4 in each direction. Once it dries, purely, everybody's got these microfiber cloths are your friend. Make sure you've got plenty of these. These should have been on the table. Once we're finished, we're just going to buff that off. You'll know it's ready to buff off because it'll dry a white haze. And what I generally do is I'll buff and leave an edge so I know where I've got to, and that's where we'll start next time. Onto the black pad now, because we're ready to do the finishing stage. Prep the pad in the same way. So our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blobs. The same area. So where were we? Up to about there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just spread the finish in the same manner. We're going to leave the machine at number 3. We're just going to do the same technique. One way and then 90 degrees to each other, but this time we're only going to do 2 passes, so it's a slightly quicker process. This is the bit that really brings the paint to life. A few people that have come around and borrowed the machine and had a go at it themselves on their cars, after the polishing process they're a little bit deflated, a bit downhearted, because you think, oh, I thought it was going to be, you know, I could have maybe got that finished by hand. It's not until you put the actual finish itself on that you'll see that deep shine come out of the car, the shine that you just can't get by polishing by hand. I've done a trial up on the roof, and once we finish this we'll have a look at that. So this is also a process that I think you can jump straight to. Like the next time this car comes in, we've got all the scratches, we've got all the swirls out, I'll probably just jump to the polishing, the finish process. I'll omit the polishing one, because you just can't get this shine by hand, and it's once you've had it, it's nice to keep it. So I'll shut up now. Again, I seem to be talking an awful lot today, and I'll just do it quickly so that you can see how easy this is. Also, let it spin up, and there it goes. Just let it glide over any creases. I'm not pushing particularly heavy with my top hand. Let it glide. There we go. That's where this machine is good. It'll work around all the shapes of the car nicely. So we did one pass in both directions, another one, and this would be done. Same sort of method, buff it off when it dries to a haze, move on to the next area. Jumped back behind the camera here, and I've actually turned the fluorescent tubes off because that flickering light was getting annoying, wasn't it? Now the halogen's on, so we can come down the side here. This side of the car and the front has all been finished, and all I need to do is apply a wax now, and you can start to see this is the finish you're going to get. You're going to get this liquid glass deep shine coming out of it, and wow, I can't wait to get this outside into the sunshine. Hopefully I can do my outro to this car driving out, and we can really see it in all its shiny glory, but it's beginning to look good. Now, what I was talking about earlier is just the difference in the finish. Now, this roof has been polished, and one side has been finished with the machine, and one side has been finished by hand, and I think you can see the difference. I mean, the bit by hand's not bad. You'd be quite happy driving down the road in it, but look at the sort of liquid, the deep shine that you get out of the polisher, out of the dual action polisher. You're just not going to get it by hand, and that's why I think when you've done this once, you just become addicted to it. So yes, hopefully we can get the car out in the sunshine in the not too distant future and see what it really looks like. I'm looking forward to it. God, those two cars look great. In fact, I'd have to say, isn't the Polo looking good? The video's gone on a bit longer than I anticipated. Sorry about that, but we've covered the topic fairly, not in depth, but we've not really left much unturned, and hopefully that'll give you a good chance to get involved, get a dual action polisher, get a better shine on your car. If this has been useful, then please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and if you can hit subscribe below, that would be superb. Well, it's a few hours later. We've cooled down, had a drink, and we're back out. Millie's joined me as well to have a look at the fruits of our labour, if you like, and just taking the angles in this evening sunshine, see how it's reflecting off the car, and really reiterate the fact that this is something that, you know, I learned this during lockdown. I've been only been doing this for a number of years, and in theory, this is a difficult car to polish. The paint is a bit notorious, but we've just applied the technique. You could apply it to any car. The one in the background there will be next. We haven't done any damage, and well, look at the result we've got. I'm a bit scared to drive it now. It looks that good, but it will be driven. That's why we have this car. Thanks very much for watching. I am going now, so goodbye. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Cheerio. Are you sleeping, dog? Dog's sleeping. It is warm. GoPro, stop recording.